The Silent Awakening. For 300 years, Earth had been nothing but a memory in the vast archives of the galactic hegemony. A footnote in their historical records, the planet that destroyed itself through war and environmental collapse. The birthplace of humanity, once teeming with life and innovation, now presumed to be a barren wasteland circling an unremarkable yellow star. Commander Zirax of the hegemony's Reconnaissance Division stood on the bridge of his vessel, the Adamant Truth, staring at the holographic display. His scaled skin reflected the blue light, 4 eyes narrowed in suspicion. "Play it again," he ordered, mandibles clicking in agitation. The communications officer, a slender Neruvian with translucent skin, nodded and activated the recording. Static filled the air before clearing to reveal a simple message. To all who receive this transmission, regret is the price of war. Earth stands vigilant. Remember the cost. Origin confirmed, Zirax asked, though he already knew the answer. Verified, Commander. The signal originated from Earth's surface, specifically from what was once called the North American continent. Zirax's upper right eye twitched, a sign of deep thought among his species. Impossible. Our last surveillance sweep confirmed Earth was uninhabitable. Radiation levels alone should have prevented any surviving humans from rebuilding communication technology. Nevertheless, Commander, the signal is authentic. And there's more. It's being transmitted on a frequency that shouldn't exist. It's using a carrier wave that defies our understanding of physics. Zirax turned away from the display, tail swishing in irritation. Earth had always been an anomaly in the hegemony's records. Humans had achieved spaceflight and then seemingly regressed, turning their weapons inward during what their historians had called the Final War. When hegemony scouts had visited a century after the conflict, they found only ruins and radiation. The human species was declared extinct, and Earth was quarantined, a cautionary example of self-destruction. Yet here was evidence suggesting otherwise. "Assemble an expedition team," Zirax commanded. "I want a full complement of scientific and military personnel. We depart for Sol system in 8 cycles." As the Adamant Truth approached Earth's orbit, the crew was stunned into silence. The planet below was not the dead world they expected. While vast regions remained scarred and barren, patches of green had reclaimed parts of the continents. And more shocking still, there were signs of civilization, lights glimmering on the dark side of the planet, artificial structures visible even from orbit. "Life signs," Zirax demanded. "Scattered but substantial, Commander. Approximately 1 billion human signatures detected, primarily concentrated in underground complexes and fortified surface settlements." Zirax couldn't hide his astonishment. "How?" "The hegemony's reports were incomplete," said Science Officer Taylor, her voice soft yet firm. A member of the ancient Althian race, Taylor's wisdom was respected throughout the hegemony. "Our monitoring stations have been focused on expanding territories. Earth was considered a closed chapter. We need to make contact," Zirax decided. "Prepare a landing party. I will lead it myself." The shuttle descended toward a massive structure that sensors identified as a communications hub. As they approached, something strange happened. The shuttle's systems flickered, and for a moment, Zirax felt as if reality itself had rippled around them. "What was that?" he demanded. The pilot's tentacles danced across the controls. "Unknown, Commander." For a moment, our position shifted by approximately 3 meters, then returned to normal. Before Zirax could respond, a new transmission came through. "Hegemony vessel, you have entered protected space. State your intentions or withdraw immediately." The voice was human, calm and measured, betraying no fear or excitement at contact with an alien species. "This is Commander Zirax of the galactic hegemony vessel Adamant Truth. We received your transmission and have come to investigate. We believed Earth to be uninhabited." A pause, then. "Your belief was convenient for you. Land at the designated coordinates. Unarmed. We will meet." The shuttle touched down in a clearing surrounded by strange metallic structures. As Zirax and his team emerged, they were met by a delegation of humans, tall, pale figures dressed in simple gray uniforms. Their leader stepped forward, a woman with dark skin and startling silver eyes. "I am Director Ilara Kane of Earth's Unified Defense Network. Welcome to what remains of our world, Commander Zirax." Zirax bowed slightly, following diplomatic protocol. "Director Kane, your survival is unexpected." A small smile crossed Ilara's face. The hegemony has always underestimated humanity. When your scouts came a century ago, we chose to remain hidden, to rebuild in silence while the galaxy forgot about us. "The transmission," Zirax said. "Why now? Why alert us to your presence after hiding for so long?" Ilara's smile faded. "Because the time for hiding is over. Follow me." She led them into one of the structures, which opened into a vast underground complex. Humans moved purposefully through chambers filled with technology that Zirax couldn't recognize. Devices that seemed to bend light around them, energy sources that hummed with power unlike anything in the hegemony's arsenal. "For 3 centuries, we've rebuilt," Ilara explained as they walked. "Not just our cities or our technology, but our understanding of the universe. The final war taught us the ultimate price of conflict. It forced us to evolve." They entered a circular chamber dominated by a holographic display of the galaxy. Certain star systems pulsed with an ominous red light. "We've been watching," Ilara continued. "Your hegemony isn't the only power in the dark spaces between stars. There's something else out there, something ancient and hungry that moves from system to system, consuming everything in its path." Zirax stared at the display, his 4 eyes widening. "We've detected no such threat, because it exists partially outside normal spacetime," Ilara said. "We call them the Void Eaters. They've already consumed 3 systems on the outer rim. Systems that, I note, the hegemony has written off as communications failures." "How could you possibly know this?" asked Taylor, speaking for the first time since landing. Ilara turned to the Althian. "Because the final war didn't just destroy our civilization. It tore a hole in reality. Some of our scientists were exposed to something else. It changed them, changed how they perceived the universe. They gained the ability to sense disturbances in the fabric of reality." She gestured, and a hologram shifted to show Earth. Surrounding the planet was a faint, pulsing field of energy. "We call it the Veil," Ilara explained, "a dimensional barrier that our altered scientists helped us develop. It's why your sensors didn't detect us until we chose to be seen. It's why your shuttle experienced that moment of displacement as you approached." "And the transmission," Zirax pressed. "A warning," Ilara said simply. "The Void Eaters are coming. Not just for Earth, but for all life in this galaxy. Our surveillance indicates they'll reach hegemony space within 5 standard years." Zirax's tail went rigid, a sign of extreme alarm among his species. "If what you say is true, why warn us at all? The hegemony abandoned Earth to its fate. We believed you extinct and did nothing." Ilara's silver eyes seemed to look through him. "Because despite everything, we remember what we once were. Because humanity still believes that life, all life, is worth fighting for. And because against what's coming, we'll need allies." She touched a control, and the hologram changed again, showing a strange device shaped like a spiraling cone. "This is the Nexus Key. For 2 centuries, we've been developing it as both a weapon and a shield. It can create a disruption field large enough to protect this entire sector of the galaxy. But we lack enough power sources to activate it at full capacity." Understanding dawned on Zirax. "And the hegemony has such power sources." Ilara nodded. "Specifically, the quantum cores that power your largest battle stations. We need at least 7 of them." Taylor stepped forward. "The Hegemony Council will never agree to this. Those cores are the foundation of our defense network." "Then the price of their refusal will be extinction," Ilara said, her voice hardening. "The transmission we sent wasn't just to you. It's being broadcast continuously. Regret is the price of war. We learned that lesson through near extinction. Now the question is, what price is the hegemony willing to pay? The cores or everything? As they returned to the shuttle, Zirax remained silent, his mind racing. If the humans were telling the truth, the entire galaxy faced an unprecedented threat. If they were lying. But why would they reveal themselves now, after centuries of successful hiding? Back aboard the Adamant Truth, Zirax prepared his report to the Hegemony Council. He included all data they had gathered, all sensor readings of the strange technology humans had developed. As he finished, a final transmission came from Earth. Commander Zirax, remember what you've seen here. When you return to your council, tell them this. Humanity stands ready, with or without the hegemony. We faced extinction once and survived. The question is, can the hegemony say the same? You have 1 standard month to respond. After that, we will act alone. Zirax stared at the blue-green planet below, a world that had supposedly died centuries ago, now revealed to be very much alive, and perhaps the galaxy's only hope against an enemy no one had seen coming. Set course for Hegemony Prime, he ordered. Maximum speed. As the Adamant Truth accelerated away from Earth, Zirax couldn't shake the feeling that the galaxy was about to change forever. The humans' final words echoed in his mind. Regret is the price of war. He wondered what price they would all pay in the war to come. The price of underestimation. The Hegemony Council chamber was silent after Commander Zirax finished his report. 12 figures sat around the circular table, representatives of the most powerful species in the known galaxy. Their expressions, or what passed for expressions among the various alien physiologies, ranged from disbelief to outright hostility. High Counselor Vex, an imposing figure with crystalline skin that refracted light into dazzling patterns, was the first to speak. You expect us to believe that humans, a species we confirmed as functionally extinct, have not only survived but developed technology beyond our understanding. And now they claim to be our saviors against a threat that we have never detected. Zirax stood firm. The evidence is irrefutable, High Counselor. I have provided all sensor data, including readings of their Veil technology. Our science division confirms it operates on principles we've never encountered. Perhaps, said Counselor Mira, her gaseous form swirling in agitation within her containment field. These are not humans at all, but imposters using Earth as a base. Perhaps another species has claimed the planet. Science Officer Taylor stepped forward. Genetic scans confirm they are human, though with subtle differences from the historical records. Adaptations to the post-war environment, most likely. And there is something else. She hesitated. Speak freely, Althean, urged Counselor Dreven, the eldest member of the council. The technology we observed on Earth, it doesn't follow a natural development path. It's as if they've taken a different evolutionary branch of scientific understanding. The dimensional manipulation they've achieved. My people have theorized about such possibilities for millennia, but never realized them. High Counselor Vex's crystalline form darkened. And you believe their claims about these Void Eaters? I believe, Zirax said carefully, that something caused the communications blackouts in the outer systems. Our investigation teams never returned. If the humans can explain these events and offer a defense, we should at least consider their proposal. The proposal being, Vex said coldly, that we hand over 7 quantum cores, the heart of our defensive network, to a species that has every reason to hate us for abandoning them. The alternative, Taylor countered, may be extinction for all of us. The debate raged for days. Eventually, a decision was reached. The hegemony would send a delegation to Earth, not to deliver the quantum cores, but to examine the human technology more thoroughly and assess the threat independently. Zirax was ordered to lead this delegation, accompanied by a team of the hegemony's top scientists and a battle group for protection. The subtext was clear. If the humans had developed weapons that could threaten the hegemony, They were to be neutralized. As the fleet approached Earth once more, Zirax felt a growing sense of unease. The hegemony's response was precisely what he had feared, caution wrapped in aggression. He had tried to convey the strange sense of purpose he had felt among the humans, their absolute certainty about the coming threat, but the Council saw only a potential rival power emerging from the ashes of a dead world. "Commander," his communications officer called, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth." Director Ilara Kane's face appeared on the view screen, her silver eyes reflecting disappointment but not surprise. "A battle fleet, Commander Zirax. Is this the hegemony's answer to our warning?" Zirax chose his words carefully, aware that his response would be recorded and reviewed by the Council. "Director Kane, the Hegemony Council wishes to verify your claims about both the technology you've developed and the threat you describe. They've sent our finest scientific minds to assess, and warships to ensure your compliance," Ilara finished for him. "We expected this. Tell your fleet to maintain their current orbit. Any approach beyond that will be considered hostile action." Before Zirax could respond, sensors across his ship began blaring warnings. "Commander," his tactical officer shouted. "Energy readings all around us. Massive power signatures activating on Earth's surface and in orbit." The view screen shifted to show dozens of previously invisible platforms materializing around Earth, each bristling with technology unlike anything the hegemony had encountered. "As I said," Ilara continued calmly, "we've been preparing for centuries. The veil doesn't just hide us, it hides our defenses as well." Counselor Drevin, who had accompanied the expedition despite his age, stepped into view of the transmission. "Director Kane, I am Counselor Drevin of the Hegemony. We mean no harm, but surely you understand our caution. You ask for our most valuable resources based on a threat we cannot verify." Ilara's expression softened slightly at the elder alien's tone. "Counselor, we understand caution. We've lived by it for 300 years, but time is running short." She gestured, and the transmission split to show a star map. "This is the Proxima Centauri system, just over 4 light-years from Earth. Watch." The image zoomed in on the star and its planets. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, almost imperceptibly, the light of the star dimmed. The darkness spread, consuming the planets one by one, until the entire system seemed wrapped in a shadowy veil. "This happened 3 days ago," Ilara said. "The Void Eaters have reached our celestial neighborhood. We're next, and after us, the entire sector." Alarms blared again on Zirax's bridge. "Commander, we're detecting a spatial anomaly at the edge of the system. Multiple signatures, approaching fast." The view screen shifted again to show what appeared to be tears in the fabric of space itself. Dark, writhing fissures that seemed to devour the starlight around them. "They're here," Ilara said, her voice suddenly urgent. "Earlier than we predicted. Commander Zirax, Counselor Drevin, you have a choice to make. Join us, or face them alone." Drevin turned to Zirax, his ancient eyes wide with fear. "Those energy patterns, they match nothing in our records." Before Zirax could respond, the lead ship of their battle group, the dreadnought Indomitable Will, fired its main weapons at one of the approaching anomalies. "No," Zirax shouted, but it was too late. The energy beams struck the darkness and seemed to vanish without effect. The fissure paused, then changed direction, heading directly for the Indomitable Will. What happened next defied description. The massive dreadnought didn't explode or break apart. It simply ceased to exist, section by section, as if reality itself was being erased. In moments, a ship carrying over 20,000 Hegemony citizens was gone. "All ships, defensive formation," Zirax ordered. "Ilara, we need your help." On the view screen, Ilara was already in motion, barking orders to someone off-screen. "Activate the Nexus key. Divert all power to the primary array." Earth's defense platforms began to glow with an eerie blue light. Beams connected them, forming the geometric pattern around the planet. The energy built until it was almost blinding, then released in a massive pulse that spread outward through the system. Where the pulse met the dark fissures, they seemed to recoil, their edges becoming more defined, more limited. They were still terrifying, still unlike anything Zirax had ever seen, but they were no longer incomprehensible tears in reality. They had become entities that could be fought. The Nexus key stabilizes space-time around them, Ilara explained rapidly. It forces them fully into our dimension where they can be engaged. But without the quantum cores, the effect is limited. We can hold them at bay, but not defeat them. Counselor Drevin stepped forward again. You have my authorization, Commander Zirax. Signal the fleet. The quantum cores are to be surrendered to Earth immediately. Counselor, the Council didn't approve. The Council isn't here to witness the end of all things. Drevin cut him off. I am the ranking hegemony official, and I am making this decision. The humans were right. Regret truly is the price of war, and I will not add the regret of inaction to my conscience. 3 hours later, 7 quantum cores had been transferred to Earth's control. Integrated into the Nexus key, their power transformed the defensive pulse into a tsunami of energy that swept through the system. The Void Eaters, now vulnerable, were systematically targeted and destroyed by the combined firepower of Earth's platforms and the hegemony fleet. As the last of the entities vanished, Zirax stood with Ilara and Drevin in Earth's command center, watching the holographic display as the system returned to normal. This was only the first wave, Ilara warned. Our scientists believe the Void Eaters operate like an organism. These were merely the equivalent of scout cells. The main body will follow. Then the hegemony must prepare, Drevin said firmly. We will need more quantum cores, more ships, and we will need Earth's technology. Ilara nodded. We've already prepared data packages on the Veil technology and the Nexus key principles. Your scientists will need time to understand them, but we concluded practical applications that can be implemented immediately. Zirax watched the exchange with a growing sense of wonder. In a matter of days, centuries of isolation had ended, and the galaxy's power structure had fundamentally changed. The hegemony, long the dominant force in known space, now stood as equals with the humans they had once written off as extinct. There's something I still don't understand, he said finally. Your message, regret is the price of war. What did you mean? Ilara's silver eyes met his. Humanity nearly destroyed itself fighting over resources, ideology, territory, all things that seemed important at the time. Our ancestors' greatest regret was realizing too late that their differences were insignificant compared to their shared humanity. She gestured to the stars visible through the command center's viewport. When we began to rebuild, we promised ourselves that we would never again let petty divisions blind us to greater threats or greater possibilities. The Void Eaters are coming for all life, not just human life. Fighting them isn't about survival. It's about redemption. Driven's ancient face creased in what might have been a smile. A worthy philosophy. Perhaps there is much the hegemony can learn from Earth, beyond merely technology. As preparations began for the greater war to come, Zirax found himself standing alone with Ilara on an observation platform overlooking what had once been North America. The devastation of the final war was still visible in places, but life had returned, forests and fields spreading across the land, and in the distance, the gleaming spires of a new human city. Your people are remarkable, he said, to survive such destruction, to rebuild in secret, to develop such technology, and then to warn those who abandoned you. Ilara watched the sunset painting the landscape in shades of gold and crimson. We had a choice after the final war, to become bitter and isolated, focused only on revenge against a universe that left us to die, or to remember the best parts of what humanity once was. We chose the latter. And now? Zirax asked. Now we do what humans have always done when faced with the impossible, Ilara said, turning to face him with determination in her silver eyes. We fight. We adapt. We survive. And most importantly, we remember that regret is the price of war, but cooperation is the currency of peace. As night fell over a world once thought dead, signals spread outward from Earth, not warnings this time, but invitations. Across the galaxy, species that had long viewed each other with suspicion or hostility received the same message. The darkness comes for us all. Stand together or fall alone. Earth awaits your answer. The age of isolation was over. The galaxy would never be the same again. And humanity, once written off as a failed experiment in sentient evolution, had returned to claim their place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as guardians against a threat that transcended all borders and all differences. The price had been high, but the lesson was clear. In the face of extinction, only unity offered salvation. Regret was indeed the price of war. But hope was the reward for peace.